Hello, this is Get Ready and Get Weird with Marcella. I am Marcella. Thank you so much for being here. We are still celebrating Spooky October. It is our third video in. So far, we have covered zombie ant fungus, we have covered bats, and now today we are covering devil's finger fungus. It's not necessarily scary, but just the name devil's finger fungus makes it sound pretty scary, and its life cycle is so creepy. If this popped up in my flower bed, I would panic heavily. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for clicking. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share my channel or my videos with anyone who you think would be interested in learning a little bit more about this awesome planet that we live on. Today, it's a pretty quick video. Let me just start out by saying that. It's not one of these 30-minute long videos that I sometimes end up with. We're gonna talk about what this fungus is. We just briefly talk about the family that it's a part of, the stinkhorns. Then we talk about its life cycle, because that's the creepy part. And we also talk about this intrinsic desire, this need to avoid things that could be harmful to us, which isn't quite fear, but it plays into this fungus, this nasty, stinky, ugly fungus. Again, with the makeup, we got weird. We stayed true to our channel name. You'll see why this eye look specifically is just pretty weird. Maybe I just need to get more eyeshadow. I'll let you be the judge. Let's jump right in and talk a little bit more about devil's finger fungus. Hello everyone, I'm here with my clean face, ready to talk to you about Clathrus archery. But just like with our last fungus video, that will be the one and only time I will say Clathrus archery, because what it's more commonly known as is octopus stinkhorn, or very spookily, the devil's finger fungus. Devil's finger fungus. This fungus is indigenous to Australia and New Zealand, but it can be found in a lot of places on the planet. It can be found in North America, in Europe, South America, South Africa, Madagascar. I read a lot of places that you could find this specific fungus, so it's not rare. I'm kind of hoping I come across it one day. I'll take a picture and I'll post it on my Instagram. It is actually thought that it was introduced into Europe during World War I on imported lumber or something like that. This fungus thrives on wood, so that is a very good hypothesis. So I'm sure it also moved to different continents in a similar way, likely on ships and just imported with goods, wood or other goods. I mentioned that it thrives on wood. It is actually something called a saprophyte, which is an organism that lives off dead or decaying matter. Most fungus is. Fungus helps to clean up the floor of forests, rainforests, all kinds of places. It helps to clean up the dead and decaying matter. The technical word for that is saprophyte, which is a new word that I learned while researching devil's finger fungus. I mentioned that it's not rare to find this fungus. You could find it in very leafy areas where there's a lot of leaves on the ground, or where a tree has fallen and the wood is rotting. But lately, in more modern times, people are actually finding this fungus in mulch, like mulch that you'd put in your flower bed. Can you imagine working so hard on your flower bed and then devil's finger fungus just popped right on up in there? Not exactly what you signed up for, but it isn't dangerous, so at least there's that. In its natural habitat, it would be found under leaf litter or fallen leaves, as well as under shrubbery. And then you can also find it in mulched gardens or mulched playgrounds again. How awful. What an awful place for the devil's finger fungus to lay claim. For the duration of its life, the fungus spends its time underground eating small bits of wood. I'm assuming also maybe dead leaves, parts of trees. That's just an assumption on my part though. Eventually, as the fungus matures, something that looks like an alien egg grows out of the ground. It really is so disgusting looking. It's kind of like a leathery, mucusy, that word, egg sac. It's what it looks like. It's not an egg because it's fungus, but it looks like an egg. And it sprouts from the ground. You wake up and there's a little egg in your flower bed. And then the egg grows, and the egg can be there for weeks. And you're like, okay, well, I have this strange little egg in my flower bed. And then the egg starts to change. You can see something inside of the egg. It looks red. And you think, what is happening? Is this really an alien egg? And then when all the conditions are just right for reproduction for this form of fungus, out of this egg will sprout red tentacles. 4 to 8 tentacles will sprout out of this egg. And I'll give you an example of how it looks with my fingers. So it's in an egg. And then when the conditions are just right, they shoot out like this, and they're bright red. And then they start kind of separating, and then they unfold, and they're this pinkish, reddish, meaty color, fleshy color. On these tentacle finger looking things is a white, gooey substance. And these tentacles grow within hours. So you've had this egg in your yard, in your garden for weeks, and all of a sudden tentacles shoot out with a white, stinky substance, and they grow to their full size within hours. And that white, sticky, stinky substance starts to turn brownish, greenish, blackish, and it stinks. It smells like rotting flesh. Well, that gooey substance actually holds the spores to this fungus, and the spores are mostly at the ends of the tentacles. And those spores, that stench attracts, side note, I'm gonna use lipstick on my eyeballs for this. I really want red eyeshadow and I don't have it, so we're using lipstick. We'll see how this goes. All right, where was I? That stench, it smells like rotting, putrid flesh. Yes, I'm putting lipstick on my eyeball. We're just gonna see how it goes. And that stench attracts flies and slugs, and it attracts beetles. And those bugs not only come and eat this gooey, nasty fungus juice, that gooey, nasty fungus juice is called gleba. Gleba. All right, maybe I added too much of this red stuff. We'll see. But it's working for what I wanted it to do. So this gleba, this nasty, stinky gleba, attracts these bugs that like dead, decaying flesh. And those organisms, the flies and the beetles and the slugs, not only get to eat this gleba, but it also, the sticky substance, gets all over their feet and their wings and their bodies and their sluggy, slimy feet. And then those bugs help to spread the spores of this devil's finger fungus to other places that it may thrive, where there's, you know, wood, shrubs, leaves on the ground. I find that pretty incredible. What I find specifically intriguing about this fungus is that it's not toxic to us as humans. And the same way that flowers purposefully smell delicious and sweet and attract butterflies and bees and hummingbirds, this fungus has developed basically opposite traits to attract other kinds of pollinators, flies, slugs, and beetles. Oh yeah, this is what I was going for. A little red halo around a dark, dark eye. Maybe it would have been easier to clean up with eyeshadow that's red instead of lipstick, but you work with what you got. That's all I gotta say about that. Yeah, I like this. This is the look I was going for. Y'all might not like it. Guess whose face it is? Mine, thankfully. I'm living like my Beetlejuice. That's how I feel with this dark Beetlejuice. Not quite glam yet. We're gonna try to get there. We're gonna try to get there with the glam section of the Beetlejuice vibes. I'm pleased with my creation. The reason that this fungus, in my opinion, fits into our spooky October themes is because the traits that this fungus have play into some of our primal, maybe not fears, but revulsions. The way it looks and the way it smells makes us want to stay away from it. And while maybe that's not fear specifically, in this case, it's similar in a way. I find it so intriguing that these fungus, this family, the whole stinkhorn family, because that's octopus stinkhorn, it falls into the family of stinkhorns, have picked up these traits. I doubt that it is specifically trying to keep humans away from it. We are not really a threat to it, but it did adapt to really work in an interesting way. This nasty, to us, smelling, putrid, ugly thing, you know, it's really found its little way in life. So while I don't personally find this fungus actually spooky, I think that some of its traits fall into spooky, repulsive, disgusting. And it has a name like devil finger fungus, and it looks like something out of a sci-fi movie. I mean, tell me that if this thing didn't pop up in your yard, you would panic. I'd panic. I'm telling you, I'd be panicking. Call 911. There's an octopus growing out of my flower bed. Send paramedics. I'm having a heart attack. Okay, now I'm gonna use the same lipstick that I used as eyeshadow on my actual lips where it belongs. Let's see how that goes. So it looks much redder. I was hoping that it would match better. And of course it doesn't, because on my lips it's very thick and opaque. And then on my eyeshadow I thinned it out. So it's more pink on my eyeshadow, but the middle of the fungus can be pink as well. So we'll take it. this repulsion from some mushrooms and some plants, and even some animals, like our natural repulsion from some animals, comes from our deep need, our deep desire to not be harmed. It is some sort of primal, maybe not fear, but maybe it is fear. The deep repulsion on an animal level, on a nomadic people, if I eat the wrong mushroom, my whole lineage dies level. This specific mushroom is not toxic to humans. Technically, you could eat this nasty, nasty thing. I will not be partaking in that ever. And it is considered inedible, but it is not dangerous and it is not toxic. All right, so this was a very quick get ready and get weird, very quick eyeshadow look. I used 3 shades of eyeshadow plus lipstick, but I could have gotten away with the lipstick and the black, honestly, and gotten a very similar look. Today we covered the Devil's Finger Fungus, and we found out that while it isn't dangerous to us, it has a very interesting life cycle, and so many different kinds of fungus and different mushrooms do. It's intriguing and honestly sci-fi level creepy factor on some of these, like this one specifically. I hope that you learned something new. I hope that you don't ever try to taste a Devil's Finger fungus, but if you do, you should be fine. You might gag a lot, but not because it's toxic. Thank you so much for sitting down and having this chat with me while I got ready. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with anyone who you think would be interested in this Devil's Finger Fungus factoid video. Thank you again, and don't forget to stay weird.